Get ready to be amazed. Get ready to know things that are usually unknowable. Get ready for an hour of insight and fascinating entertainment with Dr. Linda Salvin. For nearly 3 decades, Dr. Linda has been one of America's most celebrated psychic readers, metaphysical clinicians, and unmatched talk show hosts, bringing insights and solutions to thousands of people worldwide. Pull up a chair, turn it up, and get ready for a visit with the one and only Dr. Linda. And now, live from Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Linda Salvin.
I'm bringing on a man by the name of Alan Nathanson. He's been in the music industry for over 5 decades, which is not usual these days, but a lot of people burn out after one song. He's lucky he even got, where he got. You're going to love his melodies. There's one EP called Winds of Fate that is online everywhere, and all the proceeds are going to Ukraine, which is great. And you're going to find this man fascinating, adorable, personable, and we'll bring him on. Hi, Alan. Thank you for joining the show. Let's bring on
Dr.
Jonathan.
Linda.
Hey, Alan, let's bring on my engineer, Jonathan, for a moment.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hi. So,
hello. Sorry.
I want you to explain, you don't have to go back to grammar school because you're such a musical genius, but how you got into rock and roll during the height of what some of the people I've known in the industry, because we're about the same age, was the Camelot days of music. You were right there coming up with the Joni Mitchells and the rock and roll scene and the James Taylor and the Springsteens. You played with a lot of these people and you've worked with people that have worked with these people. You've got a lot to talk about. So I'm going to give you the stage. Okay. Jonathan's going to cue up some of your songs. I can mention what they are after a few minutes of you telling a little bit of the story. I'll say, okay, let's play this, let's play that, and we'll give the audience a piece of information and sampling of who you are musically.
Sounds good.
Go.
Well, for me, it started in where I was raised and brought up in Detroit, Michigan. So the earliest that I can remember is being around 9 years old. And they used to do, I don't know if they still do this in elementary school, but they used to do music aptitude tests where they would find out where your strengths were, where your weaknesses were, and they'd be able to guide you, into, what you would do later in life. So for some reason, I scored very high on a music aptitude test. And they stuck me with the violin.
Really?
Which I had a large problem with bowing. I couldn't get the bowing down. The fretting I had no problem with, but the bowing was extremely difficult.
I never understood fretless instruments like the bass or the violin, or because I play guitar and I understood the frets and my 6 strings, but I could never. And I'm a picker more than a strummer. I've always picked, but when there's no fret, I find it fascinating that you learn where the notes are to make it happen. So was that challenging for you?
Extremely challenging. I didn't last too long on it. I came home and I started playing the violin like a guitar and jumping up and down on my bed. And so I told this story. I'm jumping ahead a number of years, but I told this story on Star Search. I don't know if your viewers will remember Star Search.
I remember that.
Yeah, I did the pilot for Star Search when I was using my professional name. It's Chris Allen, and I told this exact story that I'm telling you on Star Search. So, anyways, I came home and I was jumping up and down on my bed, playing it like a guitar. And my dad was a very smart and intuitive man, and he got the hint and he went out and bought me a guitar, and I stayed with that.
I started with guitar at age 9. I couldn't figure things out. I used to throw them against the wall and break the neck. I have the same one. My dad said, "This is your last guitar or no more." And it's still sitting here. I still have it from like the 60s, and I have an acoustic. But your musicianship evolved. You are I'm going to say you're obsessed with the Beatles. I don't know how far back that goes, but all your posts are always about the Beatles. So do you identify with one of the Beatles? Do you see yourself as that kind of rock and roll kind of guy with that kind of band? You have been in a lot of bands. Talk about your recordings. You were signed with MGM as a staff writer and
well, you're going to my Los Angeles days. It actually started.
All right, then let's go back to Detroit, where I went to school in Ann Arbor. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I started.
I've been to Michigan.
I had a band called the Dynamics. and we were asked to perform at a summer camp called Tamaqua in Algonquin Park, Canada. And as campers, we got a discount on the fee, and then they asked us to be, the entertainment. So they ended up actually making a movie of this camp called Indian Summer with Alan Arkin. And
I remember that. Okay.
Yeah. I went to that camp when I was 16 years old. And then when I came out of camp, the Beatles movie Help had just hit. And then I started putting together my first band, which was called the Trademarks. And we immediately got signed to a local label called Palmer Records. And we actually ended up recording in a very famous studio in Detroit called United Sound,
Wow.
where John Lee Hooker recorded, Muddy Waters, Aretha Franklin, many, 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 many more successful and famous than me. And we recorded there.
You were in Motown.
Yeah, we were in Motown. And that studio, United Sound, was where we cut those two sides that ended up coming out on Palmer Records. And the flip side of the record actually is done better than the A side. The flip side is a song called If I Was Gone, and it's garnered thousands of views on YouTube. Good. So it's just amazing how things end up and channel and end up being what you never expected it to be.
Well, back then we didn't even have internet. Internet didn't hit till 96. So you and I grew up when, we went from AM radio to FM radio, and then we got in, we had 45s and 33s, 33 and a half, and then all of a sudden we had 8 tracks, and then it went into the evolution of the CD, and then it got into the MP3s. I mean, we have lived the whole genre of change in the music industry as well as radio. It's all the same thing. Without going further, I'm going to play just a little piece of, I just want to play.
Linda,
Jonathan, why don't you do, Alec, just, what?
Let's give them a comp of...
yeah, just do the comp. Just play that, please. Let's just give a sample, and then we can talk over it.
I'm a prisoner in my own house. Your love won't set me free. I'm a prisoner in my own house. Your love won't set me free. You must have cast your spell. It's gotten a hold of me. Sometimes when I wake up, I just wanna go back to sleep. This world's too crazy, too cruel, too hard to me. Whatever happened to that dream I was dreaming? How did we ever lose that feeling? I don't wanna open my eyes till this world's in a better place. I don't wanna open my eyes. There's no ringing in your ears. Now your friends are hard to find, just like the papers you signed, swept away by the winds of fate. It'll hit you when you least expect it. There'll be no way you'll detect it, no matter how you dissect it. There's no way you can reject it.
Okay.
There you go. Those are three cuts off my new EP.
Your songs are hip, and they're today, and they're contemporary, and they're timeless, but it's the words that are still catching, and they touch the soul, as opposed to the melody that's easy listening but still has the groove going that people need today, because there's so much garbage out there. It's not music like you and I grew up with, but you still do music. I still do music, but a lot of people find music to be different. I don't want to go into their music or their styles, because that's not what this show's about. But when did you actually leave Detroit, and then tell a little story of how you got to the Jefferson Airplane House. Grace's house.
Okay.
Tell the little
Well,
story.
the Trademarks band morphed into a band called Everline Nevermore. And we were all part of, the Detroit music explosion. There were a lot of amazing bands coming out of Detroit, like Bob Seger and MC5 and Iggy Pop and the Stooges. We were all coming out of Detroit. We were all playing the same venues, the Grandy, the East Town. And that band ended up getting a record deal. I'm talking about my band, Everline Nevermore. Ended up getting a record deal on Vanguard Records that we recorded in New York. And we were doing amazing shows. I mean, we were kids, really. But we were doing shows with Procol Harum and Spirit and 10 Years After and Norman Greenbaum with Spirit in the Sky. And the Zombies and all these bands, we were put on the same shows with them. And
you must have had a blast. And you did your rock.
It was amazing. It was amazing. But on top of that, I was going to school at Wayne State University because I made a promise to my parents that I wouldn't quit school. And it was difficult because you'd play till 2 a.m, then I'd have to get home and go to sleep and wake up for an 8 o'clock
and
class.
Try to study at some point in between.
Exactly. It was difficult.
Were you studying music then as well?
I'm sorry?
Did you major in music?
I majored in mass communications.
Okay.
So that was my major in college. But it basically was just, to please my parents.
I understand.
And then from that band, we kind of reached the end. The egos got out of hand. We were getting a lot of notoriety, articles in the newspaper, doing TV shows. And then everybody just started, acting strange and different. And new management came in, and I just decided, and the drummer and myself, actually, the drummer's name, by the way, was Jack Daniels, his real name.
Okay.
We used to call him the whiskey bottle.
Yeah,
we used to call him the whiskey bottle. So anyways, him and I decided to get in a car, which was my sister's 68 Firebird. I can't even believe to this day. Thank you, Marilyn Nathanson. She lent me the car, and we drove down to New Orleans and got caught in a monsoon in Mississippi. And we pulled over there. Some guys helped us out, took us to their place in Mississippi. And then we went to my first Mardi Gras. I've been to a few of them, or a couple of them at least. And they took us to my first Mardi Gras in New Orleans. And then we met some amazing people who were friends with Hot Tuna, which was kind of an offshoot of the Jefferson Airplane.
I know some of the players still here today. Yeah.
So they said, hey, when you want, we're gonna be coming down there in the summer. Why don't you join us? And so I quit the band and I started writing songs, and I made a decision that I was going to go to Los Angeles via San Francisco. And my sound man at the time, Shel Pastor, was worried about me. So he came with me, got on a plane with me, and the two of us landed in San Francisco, and these friends of Hot Tuna met us. And the next thing I know, I'm staying in Grace Slick's bedroom, and I'm playing her piano.
In a mansion in San Francisco.
Yeah, 2400 Fulton Street. I remember exactly the address. And their business manager, Augie Bloom, was a really, really nice guy and filled out my address book for me. He said, oh, you're going to LA, so why don't you look up these people and just tell them Augie sent you? And so that's what I did, and that got me to LA.
Michael Nesmith of the Monkees. Let's go to that one.
Okay, well, that was one of the names he put in my address book. I still have the address book. I should have brought it with me.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, and so we hitchhiked to back in those days you could hitchhike.
Yeah.
Hitchhike. Nowadays kids don't do that.
And
but back then you just stuck your hand out on the interpass, and then we got picked up by this guy named Floyd who sold pots and pans. and he was going to Los Angeles, and he said, if you guys don't have any place to stay, you can sleep on my floor. So that's what I did.
God, you just had every gate open for you. It's like they were waiting for you to get here, and it just exploded. Hold on.
So I really only.
Okay, but I want to play some more. I want to just play a bit of Into Space. What's this from? We got to go back and forth because I can't go chronologically. You've got too much for one show. It's so brilliant. Here, talk about this. It's going to load for Jonathan. None of these are playing. I don't get it. I don't know what it's. There it goes. I love the drums on it. You play drums?
at your grave. The king's gonna sing your song. With a wave of the hand he's gone. You just got hit by the winds of fate.
I love that. Let's go to this one. You're so diverse. That's what I love about your music. You're not just the same, where some people sound the same album after album after album. You know it's their signature. You're not like that. I know it's your tunes. I love this. But you're on the road, you can feel your like that one. Have any of your songs ever been in movies?
Yeah, this is from my band Grey Dog. It's called Cadillac. This was actually licensed by Mary Kay Cosmetics.
I got the road to run. Come on, honey, let's go. We're gonna take a ride. We ain't gonna take it slow. I got a hunger burning like a heart attack. Let's keep the top down. We'll never look back. Come on, honey, let's take a ride in my Cadillac.
Alan, I can play your music all day long, but I want to hear the story of
Thank
you.
you very much.
I want to switch gears for a second because we're coming into Passover, which is one of the major Jewish holidays, as we know. And I know that you have an ancestor somewhere along the line in your blood and genetics who actually wrote the song Hava Nagila. Every Jewish girl and boy knows that song, even if it's the Gentiles at a wedding or a bat mitzvah, bar mitzvah. It's Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila, Hava. We all learn it as children, and we learn it and sing it all our lives.
That's
How
right.
did you discover that your relative wrote that?
Well, I had no idea, obviously. I mean, I played in bar
Him
mitzvah.
reincarnated.
Yeah, I played in bar mitzvah and wedding bands my whole life.
didn't hear me.
Indeed.
You didn't hear me. You didn't hear me.
Go
If
ahead.
he died in 1981, but you may still have a part of his soul. So the two of you, this is where my stuff comes in besides the music. So on the spiritual level, you two probably knew each other back when he was alive, but your whole ancestry from wherever the lineage is from was musical. So you've inherited a lot of the familial creative aspects from past lives and this life. Absolutely. But I just think it's fabulous. I mean, who would know? Yeah, you never wonder. Who would have thought that your relative wrote Hava Nagila? And here you are.
Well, I never thought it. It was brought to me by my cousin Idel, who lives in Jerusalem, and she told me to check out this book on Amazon, which I did, and there it is. Moshe Nathanson wrote the lyrics to. Moshe Nathanson wrote the lyrics to Hava Nagila. Yeah, complete surprise. I had no idea.
I'd be thrilled. I'd be surprised too. But you're not related to the hot dogs.
No.
All right, let's go back to the music. Okay, so you get into LA, you meet Michael Nesmith. Was he already with the Monkees at that time?
No, he was recording. No, this was the summer of '71, so he was recording his solo.
Over. Yeah.
They were over. He was recording his solo album at RCA and invited me down. Yeah, it was great. He was a really, really nice guy. I wish I could have thanked him later in life, but I never had the chance.
And BJ Thomas, you were close to him.
BJ Thomas, I wasn't close to him.
You've met all these people. You've met.
Yeah. Well, he recorded a song I co-wrote with a Hall of Fame songwriter who was our producer, Nathanson and Schoenholtz. We were an artist on Capitol.
Is that in 74 or so? Back in the 70s?
That was 74. And I've been writing songs with Steve Dorr for years. So we wrote this song together, and he called me and said, "Hey, guess what? BJ Thomas is going to record it. Why don't you come down to the studio?" And so I got a chance to meet BJ. And watch him record my song.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what's fascinating. I mean, you lived your dream.
I have lived your
dream. Okay,
I'm very thankful.
Dream that a lot of people dream about dreaming and not maybe getting up and doing it or getting out there. Like me, I ran. I got there, and then when it was offered to me, I stepped away for whatever reason. I can still go back. Yes, I know a lot of the same people you do, but I haven't had the experiences, obviously, any more than you've had mine. But let's go to the personal side for just a moment besides the music. So you're married. You've got
I
kids,
am.
and you're a grandfather, and you still
Yep.
do your music. Because
Yes.
what people need to understand in life, that the soul and emotion continues regardless if you're 9 or you're in your 70s or 60s
Okay.
or
I agree
40s
with
or
that.
50s. It's just who you are. And a lot of people
Hmm.
don't know that. They stop growing, or they give up, or they say, no, I'm too old, or whatever. So your music, or my music, anybody's music, will keep you young, just like writing, or racing cars, or listening to music, or gardening. People have to stay motivated. What keeps you motivated?
I have no choice. I mean, the songs come through me, and I must write them, and that's basically how it is. I either get a lyric or I get a melody,
Mm-hmm.
and I follow through on it. And I'm lucky to have the time and the means. I'm very lucky to have the time and the means to be able to do that. And I'm very thankful that I have my health, because a lot of people do not.
No,
And
they don't, especially at this age and going forward. I think we said just a few
exactly.
weeks ago, our generation of musicians are in their 80s, turning 80 and above now. It's
Right.
kind of strange. A friend of mine was on a cruise ship with some major bands like the Beach Boys not too long ago, and he came back to say everybody's in wheelchairs and on crutches, and they're all these old people. I said, that's us. We were the teenagers when these bands were hip, you know.
That's right.
But we have our
That's
health.
right.
Health and
With-
wellness is what keeps you going. Without health, you have no life. I mean, you can still have your life, but you got to stay healthy in order to embrace the best of it. The
I'm
best
very
of it.
lucky to have all those ingredients, and that's what keeps me going. And music, I think, the old expression, Linda, music keeps you young.
Yes, and it
There you go.
does, which is why I may just pick up the guitar again. I've got to get my songs up here. I got to tell Jonathan to upload my own tunes. But let's go back to after the 70s when you were signed with MGM. Then what happened?
Well, we had actually two deals on MGM. We had one deal with a label called Sunflower, which was an album deal, and it was with Mac David, who was Hal
Al
David from
David's.
Bracker. Yeah, Mac David, and I didn't know this at the time, because back then, of course, we didn't have Google or Safari, or were able to get
Isn't
anything.
it a weird world? Yes.
But now I looked him up, and he wrote Hello Dolly. He wrote the theme songs to 77 Sunset Strip and Hawaiian Eye. And, he wrote and he's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame too. Actually, he's the one that signed us to and a guy named Marshall Lieb actually came to our apartment and heard our demo at Larry Shane Music, which was Henry Mancini's publishing company, and signed us to the deal. And we were in the studio within a couple of weeks recording our album. The problem we had was Mike Curb, who ended up becoming Lieutenant Governor of California.
Right.
He was the head of MGM Records at that time, and
He
halfway
was?
through our
I didn't know
album.
that. Wow.
He also had a group called the Mike Curb Congregation. And that was it. He came down and just said, Mac David is retiring to Palm Springs, and that's the end of your deal. No, that was it. We were cut
So
short, just like that.
the highs and lows of life, like anybody else, you're riding the tide, and all of a sudden the rug's pulled up from underneath you. Then comes what are we going to do? Or you're depressed, or you're lethargic, or you don't have no hope or faith. What kept you going again? What got you back up?
Well, we were definitely depressed because we were halfway through recording
How
an
can
album.
you
But
not
what happened was that there was a producer named Bill Criswell who was actually doing the on-site producing of our music on Sunflower Records. And he said, you know what, I'm going to take you over to this guy named Doug Gilmore, and he'll get you re-signed to MGM. And so that's what happened. We went over there. He had an office in the back of the legendary United Western Recording Studios. And he heard us, and we auditioned for him. And he said, okay, I'm going to take you back to MGM, and I'm going to get you re-signed. And that's what happened. And the next thing we know, the next thing I know, we were in the studio with the legendary Wrecking Crew studio musicians, the same musicians that backed up the Beach Boys.
Because a lot of people watching, listening, don't know who or what the Wrecking Crew was. Elaborate a little bit, please. I know what it is, but
the Wrecking Crew were the Wrecking Crew were the studio musicians that backed up. They were hired on musicians that backed up legendary acts that you and I grew up on, like the Beach Boys, Mamas and Papas, Simon and Garfunkel, all the records that you and I were listening on the radio.
All the instrumentation, all the different musicians are called studio musicians.
The Byrds, Paul Revere and the Raiders, they played on all a lot of the stuff, I should
Because
say,
not
not
every
all of it, but a lot
band
of it.
had every instrument, and when people hear an album produced versus seeing them in concert, a lot of the times it's distorted because the
Right.
album's so big and orchestrated,
Right.
and then you see 4 or 5 people on stage, it doesn't have the same sound. You know it's them because the lyrics and the melody, but the whole production's different. People don't understand there are musicians hired to do the music. Go on.
So when I was 22 years old, Steve Schoenholtz and I were signed as Nathanson and Schoenholtz, which was the same name we went by on our first deal with Sunflower Records. And there we are in the studio with the two-thirds of the Golden Trio, Hal Blaine, Joe Osborne. And then we wanted the keyboard player that we heard on Loggins and Messina sitting in the album, a guy named Michael Omartian. And I just said, look, I know you want to put in Larry Knechtel, which would have been great. But we said, hey, we really want Michael Omartian. And so next thing I know, there we are in Studio A in United Western recording with the legendary Wrecking Crew musicians for our record.
Have you written a book on all this yet? Or is it just...
I've had so many people on Facebook say, you have to write a book, you have to write a book. And I think maybe at one point, I try to reflect it in my songwriting. You know, the songs that you're hearing.
Yeah, because that's your emotional outlet. And I understand that because I can write all the sad love songs of who hurt me and who I thought I loved and all that versus what's happening now. My whole life's been in a journal since I was 14, like you. I write, it comes out, and people don't understand when that urge or that lyric or that melody, maybe you wake up in the middle of the night and there's that hook or there's those few words. You've got to write it down or it goes away and you forget it. Or then once you get into it, and then it's composing the verses and the chorus, and then the second verse. People don't understand the rhythm and the formula that goes along everything. So I can write songs. No, it's not that easy. There is a formula. You happen to be gifted. You should be very, very proud of yourself. I need to take a break. I'm going to put you in the back. Jonathan, come forward. This is going to talk. We're going to talk about Wicks of Wisdom for a second. Jonathan just ordered 5 sets of Wicks of Wisdom, folks. Wicks of Wisdom is my candle line. That's been going on since 1999. If you need money, success, opportunity, love, win lawsuits, whatever, it's a combination of Kabbalah mixed with Santeria. And I just found out that it's going to be distributed in over 500 stores nationwide. I'll bring you up to date about that as it unfolds. Hold on. Here's just a little clip on Wicks of Wisdom.
Use this set of candles to assist in strengthening the immune system, heal from various ailments, enhance general health and well-being, and target and help heal specific health issues. They can expedite the healing process. They're great to use before and after surgeries, and it can encourage physical, emotional, and spiritual healing.
Harmony Power. Burn this set to improve dysfunctional situations, improve balance and harmony in unsettled environments within yourself and others, whether at work or home.
Okay, everybody, those are Wicks of Wisdom. Wicks of Wisdom work like a prescription for your soul. You get 4 bottles of essential oils, your 3 candles, the herbs, the powders, the parchment paper, 2 pages of instructions that are on the PDF file and all the videos that are out now. But everything's 15% off the candles and services right now because the new website went up last week, lindasalvin.com. Go to the site, 15% off, and they're yours. Jonathan, you've got health and wellness and good luck being shipped to you and a friend in Washington, D.C., but we'll get back to the candles later. What is it that you wanted to play of Alan's now?
Well, one of my very favorite tunes from this collection was I Don't Want to Open My Eyes.
I love that.
We'll go ahead and play it, and then
go ahead.
I'd like to ask Alan a couple questions after. So
absolutely, go.
Sometimes when I wake up, I just want to go back to sleep. This world's too crazy, too cruel, too hard to me. Whatever happened to all hate has been erased. What are you afraid of? Is it me or is it someone else? I think that one day you're gonna have to deal with yourself. Don't we all want the same thing? To dance and laugh and sing. I don't want to open my eyes till this world's in a better place. I don't want to open my eyes till all hate has been erased.
Let's tone that down, Jonathan. Start fading it.
Thinking back on all the years, through the smiles and the tears.
Jonathan. Jonathan, you can't
Yeah,
hear
I'm
me.
here.
Okay, what did you want to ask Alan? I love this song. It's spiritual. It's about the soul. It's emotion. It's who we are. What do you want to know? How he came up with that? What's your question?
Exactly. How when and at that time, do you remember, what you were going through and what inspired that song? Because I get, like Linda said, so much spiritual message from it, but also such a self-reflective one that seems, introspective, but also considers everybody involved. Such a universal song.
And I think
Thank
it's
you.
one of the best you've done. Is it more contemporary? When did you do this? When did you release it? Because that ties into the show here. I mean, everything does because it's you and your background, but that touches my purpose to help people. Where did the song come from?
Once again, it's one of those things that just comes to you. The title came to me, and then I started writing it. But before I go on, I have to acknowledge my co-producer on the EP Winds of Fate, who's Marty Rifkin,
Yes.
who has played with Tom Petty and Bruce Springsteen and Jewel and many others, and has gold records with a few of them. So
And you've
I have to
introduced me to
acknowledge.
him, and I'm going to probably go maybe lay down some tracks with them. Thank you for
You
that
should.
introduction. Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah,
he
he also.
absolutely gets the credit.
Right, he- not
Next
only
time
did
we
he-
can have both of you on the air.
There you go. I would relish that. Not only did he co-produce it with me, but he plays bass and other instruments, pedal steel on a lot of the stuff that we recorded. So Jonathan, it just came to me. These songs were all written during lockdown from COVID.
Okay.
Stop.
And
Stop.
yep.
That's perfect. That's what I want to hear because I coined the term hallway of transformation, knowing what the movement's all about. When we were in lockdown, a lot of people were forced to look at themselves, forced to grow, forced to become more spiritual. The whole thing's changing where religion's not as intense and active as it was. And I've been touting spirituality since 1994 when I started radio.
Right.
After I was in a plane crash, became spiritual. So I've been at this for 30-something years, and now the world's catching up. Okay? So you're right where you're supposed to be, and more of those kind of songs are going to start
you.
pouring out of you. You're going to channel. You channel them, of course. You channel your lyrics. It's just what happens. It's your gift. I'm going to go back to your relative for a moment because he was also, Moishe was a soldier in the Turkish army. So you must have Turkish history in you somewhere or genetics. Who knows where you're from? Your genetics go way back. There's so many spokes to your wheel, like everybody else, and I don't even know where to concentrate. But that one song I would love to have it almost as a theme once in a while on the show here. Jonathan loves
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, so that's basically where it came from. I was
That's
locked down
phenomenal.
in COVID, as we all were.
Yep.
And the writing started happening again because I really wasn't writing for a couple of years. I really had just kind of, I think you turn these things off unconsciously. And COVID, as you just stated, opens everything up spiritually, creatively.
Yes, it
Yes.
did.
So I found
And then
myself.
the bad side or
yeah.
the sad side of COVID, for those that know, and for commentary, I mean, addiction went up, alcoholism went up, child abuse, domestic abuse, suicide. It really hurt a lot of people. But those that were on the right path that understood, hey, this is an opportunity to reinvent as you transform, are people like you that took advantage of it and grew. and now you're
or
doing
it
something.
or it took advantage of me. I don't know. How
You
that
had to
actually
receive
worked.
it, but the
I was the
opportunity was
receiver.
there, but you still embraced it. You still got involved with it, and now you've got new music again. Your music doesn't die; it just doesn't. Your music is endless forever. It's topical and it's classical. It is. It's not the kind of music or songs that anybody could get tired of. It doesn't have
Well,
an age.
my sister Marilyn Nathanson was a classical pianist, not professionally, but just at home. She would, and so I used to sit there watching her, and it probably, like you said, it got in. It got in.
Something was absorbed, but I think you inherited from your lineage, whatever. You know, my mom was born in Detroit. My mom, her name was Marilyn.
Oh, okay.
My grandfather, her father was Leo. Your grandson is Leo. There's too many.
And he's a Leo.
Yeah, on top of that. But the similarity is to how all this comes together spiritually. It's like, okay, there's a Marilyn, a Detroit. There's a Marilyn, a Detroit, a Leo. The music, I mean, it's like, ooh, where does it all come about? I call that the soul circle. Somehow everything's destined as to how you meet certain people, and other people come and drift out of your life for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But are there any other songs here, Jonathan, that we want to play before we just get back into some of the story? Because this guy can talk forever about his music.
I'd be happy to answer it too.
Well, let's see. We've got "Prisoner in My Own House." Not sure why.
Well,
that's a good one. I heard it. Play that.
That's directly about COVID, because I was a prisoner in my own house.
We all were.
We all were, exactly.
Yeah, we still are in some ways, but let's not go there. Play that, please.
I'm a prisoner in my own house. Your love won't set me free. I'm a prisoner in my own house. Your love won't set me free. You must have cast your spell. It's gotten a hold of me. I knew when I met you there was trouble from the start. I knew when I met you there was trouble from the start. Can't get you out of my head, can't get you out of my heart. There ain't no bars on the windows, the door swings both ways. If I ever leave this place, I know they're gonna lock me away.
Okay, John, bring it down.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Well,
So, Alan,
thank you.
was that talking to the pandemic? Was that you talking to the condition of our lives? Was it you expressing an emotion towards a fantasy woman? What were you talking? What was the image that when you started talking about this?
Basically about being locked down, and then I thought I'd bring it into a relationship setting so more people could relate to it.
Absolutely, you got to make it general. That's why broadcasting's called broad, because it's broad for everybody.
Absolutely.
Radio's the same. Yeah. Does your wife ever get jealous about some of your songs if it may not be about her?
Well,
And you just are writing about somebody as a
They're
song?
all about her. They're all about her.
Always wondered. She seems adorable. You want to tell how you
She
guys
is.
met?
Go ahead. Oh,
Did
we
you-
met actually at a hair salon. She was there because her ex-boyfriend friend from high school was my hair cutter, and she happened to just be there.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Winds of fate. Winds of
Yep.
fate.
Everything's fate. Everything has a purpose, and if you understand the synchronicity of life and you tie it all together, then you're
Right.
on the flow, and when you're on the flow, it works. Your life always seems to work. I'm not saying you haven't had issues with health or career or finances and ups and downs with just life, but you've actually done quite well. You should be really thrilled and pleased and proud of yourself.
I'm very thankful.
Let's play one more side of Winds of Fate. John, let's hit that one more time.
Sometimes just wanna go back to sleep. This world's too crazy, too cruel, too hard to me. Whatever happened to that dream I was dreaming? How did we ever lose that feeling? I don't wanna open my eyes till this world's in a better place. I don't wanna open my eyes. There's no ringing in your ears. Now your friends are hard to find, just like the papers you signed, swept away by the winds of fate. It'll hit you when you least expect it. There'll be no way you'll detect it, no matter how you dissect it. There's no way you can reject it. She's American made, she's a real clean machine. Just put the pedal to the metal, she'll take you places you've never seen. I got a 427 sitting under the hood. Just get inside, it feels so good. Come on, honey, let's take a ride in my Cadillac. We're gonna ride like a surfer on a wave. We're gonna ride. We're gonna ride. So hold on tight. We're gonna ride into the night.
Download your songs on iTunes,
All
Spotify,
of the streaming
YouTube, all of it.
services. Yeah. iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube. You know, they're everywhere. And all the money, by the way, I know you said this in the beginning of our interview, but all the money, all the streaming money that comes in, I'm giving to World Central Kitchen, which helps out Ukraine.
I think it's wonderful. And the beautiful part is that you're at a point in your career you can do that. It's not that you
Yes.
need the money.
Very
You've
thankful.
worked hard to get to where you are to be able to donate and give it back. A lot of people don't understand that when you're going up, a lot of the times you can't just give everything away when you need to keep it to live your life that you've created. Then you get to a place in your life where you have decisions and choices and opportunities and blessings. And it's like, okay, I'm going to give back. And that's what he's done with Winds of Fate. People, go to all these different platforms. Look for Alan Nathanson. Download, buy his music, send him an email. What's your what's your website address or the email?
Alan, okay,
the
thanks,
website.
Linda.
Sorry, yeah.
No, you're good. AlanNathansonMusic.com.
That's what I was trying to say. My brain's on fire because I've got all these lyrics running through my head. But if you want to contact him, check out this website. You'll read his bio. You'll read thousands of famous people's names that he's had contact with. And the testimonials alone cover a whole page. You would be amazed at some of the big names on that testimonial page that have given kudos to
Very
this man.
thankful.
Yeah, man, you've been touched by a lot of people. You've got Val Gary, you've got Steve Schoen, also, of course, because you guys work together. You've got Hal, you've got Marty Rifkin, you've got Maury Baker, you've got Scott Richardson. You've got all these people that have played with the major musical world of the last 50 years.
Well,
You
you're
haven't
leaving out a
missed
couple.
beat. Well, I can't
Yeah.
read everything.
No,
Go
no, I
ahead.
understand.
Fill in
Yeah.
the blank. Go on.
Harry Maslin, who was David Bowie and Air Supplies, and Barry Manilow's producer. He said some nice things about me there. And also, I have to acknowledge our ex-producer for Capitol, Steve Dorff, who's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He has been very helpful to me in my career, and he said some nice words as well.
It did. I just don't have time to read it, but everybody, you can go to Alan Nathanson's website, say it again, and you can read for yourself hundreds, well, not hundreds, but a beautiful list of testimonials that
Thank you,
will
Linda.
qualify this man's talent and how much you're really loved. You're admired, you're loved and respected, Alan. You really are. You are by
Thank you
the
very
industry.
much.
You know, it's not everybody's out there on the biggest stage, but you've built a huge stage for yourself. You should be very, very proud. Bet your family is too. One more time, website and different platforms where they can find
Website's
you.
Alan, in small caps, AlanNathansonMusic.com, and you can just put in Alan Nathanson Winds of Fate, and all the streaming services will come up. Thank you
Y'all
so
gotta
much for
check
doing
out
it.
You're
this
welcome.
album.
I think
mean, this was just a sample and preview, but as
wow.
Alan
Thank you.
suggested, the sonic quality and the musicianship on this album is
it's
phenomenal,
spectacular.
for
It's
sure.
clean.
And
It's fresh. You can hear every instrument. You can hear everything.
I can't wait, as Alan suggested, to download and actually give a listen in some full quality speakers in the car.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
beautiful.
sir. Thank you for sharing. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
And I think
work.
Alan said he had a little surprise to close the show
I
out
do.
with. What's
I
that?
do. I do. Well,
I
before
do,
I came on, like you said, the inspiration just comes. And so I thought about, can you still see me?
Yeah.
I thought about, I'd write a little 15-second ditty as a thank you for having me on,
you're welcome.
Dr. Linda Salvin. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's nice to see you. Thanks for having me on. It's nice to see you. So I'm leaving you with a song. Bye, everybody.
Alan, thank you. We'll be in touch. That touches my heart. I love that. And stay backstage. I'll come back in just a moment, okay? Hold on.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed today's program with Dr. Linda. Need a breakthrough of your own? Ready for answers or insights nobody else has? Reserve your own one-on-one in-person chat. Dr. Linda isn't just for other people. Dr. Linda gets results for you. And it's easy. Contact details are on screen now. Just click on lindasalvin.com or call toll-free 888-509-1077. That's lindasalvin.com or toll-free at 888-509-1077.